the show for real estate entrepreneurs.
I don't think most people know how many extremely successful people went to hypnotists or people that did something similar to hypnosis with them. Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, was written under hypnosis. It was sold via the programming of a hypnotist, my mentor actually. So many different people. The thing that most people don't understand is that we all have a way of viewing the world, and how we view the world determines whether or not we finish the thing we're working on. When you're certain a project will succeed, no matter how many times you get knocked off course, you'll go, no, it's done, it's given. It's a fix, I'm in there. And you just don't stop. The thing that stops most people is that doubt creeps in, and they get beat up so much they don't realize that's the natural process. And so what people can do to get more done is, and I said it earlier, begin with the end in mind. Know what is your outcome. And when you're focused on what that outcome is, and you know what the reason you need that outcome or want that outcome is, then everything gets easier. And then what happens is you got to understand, what are your own personality defects? And what are you not good at? And not acknowledging those personality defects is fatal. Most people don't want to realize, I'm not really good managing people, or I don't like sales, or I'm not really a morning person, or I want to be a professional actor or model and I live in, Bodoink, Iowa. You've got to take charge of your environment. You've got to say, okay, where is the target-rich environment for my success? Where might I find more agents that like the offer that we have at Big Block? Where might I find more people that would be interested? And by the way, target-rich means would and could. Would be interested in what it is that you sell, and more importantly, could afford it. If I have people that are going, oh, I really want what you're selling, and they don't have a dime, what's the point? Yeah. If I have people that are loaded and don't have any interest in what I'm selling, I'm in the same place. The next thing that we've got to do to create the success that we want in reprogramming our brains is, since reality is created by validation, we need to find evidence of the thing that we're working on that will give us the proof that we need. Silly, and I know a lot of people watching this probably won't even be able to relate. When I realized that my head wasn't growing hair the way that I wanted it to grow, I researched and found a bunch of guys that were highly successful that had shaved heads. Jeff Bezos, Barry Diller, and I know it sounds silly because you're not there. You couldn't relate to that, yet I could, and so I had to. And so I think that's important for all of us, no matter what it is, that we find validation of people that we can relate to that have succeeded in ways that we can say, okay, if they can do that, I can too. And then finally, there's really only three things we need to get anything we want. Number one, we've got to create self-mastery. And self-mastery is the ability to control your thoughts and emotions. Ultimately, you control them, whether you know you do or not. You lose your temper, you're actually choosing to lose your temper. You get upset, you're choosing to give your power away to somebody else, and nothing has any power except the power that you give to it. So number one, you've got to create self-mastery. Secondly, you need the tools for the task at hand. Whatever those are. In relationship, the number one tool is agreements. You have an agreement with somebody. You say, we agree to be on time. We agree to be respectful. We agree not to use profane language unless we're happy. And so the third thing is, and this is the hard part for most people, is you can have all the self-mastery in the world. You can be in total control of your thoughts and emotions. You can know exactly what you need to do. The third thing you need is you need the ability to take action in the present moment. Because I guarantee you, I don't care who you are watching this video, listening to this podcast, you are older than you thought you would be at this point in your life. You're not getting stuff done. And so you've got to be willing to fail forward fast. You've got to be willing to risk, because without risk, there's no goodies. And most people don't risk enough because they're risk adverse, because they don't like losing. You know it. I know it. People that succeed, we know it. We lose more than we win. We do. Yeah. The venture capitalist that has $100 million to invest loses $90 million. 9 deals go south. Loses 100% of the money put into those deals. People say, well, then why in the world would they invest in those deals? Because number 10 makes them $1 billion. Right. And that's just how the game is. And I will also add to that, never get angry at the game. I like chess. I like playing games. I like games that stimulate my brain. I like chess because chess is very pure. Oliver, you and I play chess. The only advantage is first mover. There's a slight advantage to first mover. Yet if second mover plays well, then there's really no advantage, and every single game is going to end up in a draw. The thing about chess, though, you want to get an advantage. You want to get a slight advantage. So if you can trade a pawn for a primary piece, you keep getting a slight advantage. If you know which pieces actually have incrementally more power, the knights are interesting because they're very good strategy pieces, up 2, over 1, the rooks all the way forward that they can go, all the way horizontally that they can go. The bishops are a little bit limited because they're stuck on their color.
They're diagonal only.
Yeah, they're stuck on their color. And so if you're playing somebody and they've got a primary piece that's not a bishop and you've got a bishop, you've got a disadvantage. The king, he just plods along. He doesn't really have that much power. The queen, she's the most powerful piece on the board. She can go wherever she wants, as far as she wants, kind of like the real world. Mm-hmm. And so it's very important to protect your queen. I played many times with people that when they lose their queen, they give up the game because they're at such a disadvantage. And I say don't do that. I say if you lose your queen, stay in the game, because if you can get your piece to the other side of the board, you can get your pawn to the other side of the board, you can get your queen. In fact, theoretically, you could have 9 queens because you've got 8 pawns, kind of like the real world in Utah. Just a joke. Relax already. My gosh. And so I went to Necker Island. I go to Necker Island quite a bit, and I rent the whole island out, bring students down there, hang out with Sir Richard Branson.
Nice.
The last time I went down, there were chessboards everywhere, and there weren't chessboards before. And I said to my wife, Sir Richard Branson took up chess, which he did. And so every day I'd see him out there playing his employees chess. And one morning I wake up and he's playing an employee chess, and I'm standing there watching him play, and he beats the employee, and the employee goes away. And I said, I like to play chess. He said, are you any good? I said, I've played a couple times. And I just kind of downplay it. And he says, okay, sit down, let's play. So we sit down and we play. And for me, everything is a game. And you got to pay attention on all levels of the game. And to me, the MF, the mind fog of the game of chess is as important as the strategy. And so within 4 moves, I've moved to a place where if I move my knight in front of a pawn, he'll take my knight. It opens up my bishop to take his queen. And so that's not enough, though. So I take the knight, and I hesitate before I move it, and then I move it slowly, and then I sit like I'm looking all over the board, and then I set it down right in front of his pawn, and then I let go. Oh, crap. He went, no, you let go of it. I went, oh, man. And I'm looking at the board. He takes my knight with his pawn, as he should have, he thought. What he doesn't realize is I opened up my bishop to take his queen. I'm looking at the board, and I'm playing Sir Richard Branson chess, and I'm going, was that really the smartest thing to do? You're going to take Sir Richard Branson's queen in 5 moves. He's probably not going to like you much. Then again, if he sees that you could have taken his queen in 5 moves and you don't, he's going to think you're an idiot. Yeah. So I'm going, screw it, let's do it.
The conundrum.
Yeah, screw it, let's do it, which, by the way, is the name of his second book anyway, so I did. I took his queen. I take it off the board. He looks at the board. He says, that wasn't a mistake, was it? I said, it's chess. And he conceded. He quit, which kind of surprised me, because I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have thought a billionaire would quit. I would think a billionaire would play it out. He didn't.
To listen to this full Founders Club interview, go to foundersclub.tv.